Hello, my name is Eduardo, and today I am here with a new tutorial. Okay, this tutorial it is for AppyBuilder. Okay, but you can follow this tutorial with AppInventor or with Thunkable also. Okay, so I will be using AppyBuilder, the gold version. Okay, if you don't know anything about AppyBuilder, you can check their website. Okay, the link is in the description. Well, to start, I will show you the final app for today. Okay. So here you check, it is a very simple Pong. Okay, so if you remember, I have another tutorial about a Pong game. Okay, that it was in a vertical mode. Okay, it was in an horizontal mode. Now I am making this. Okay, but I am making it more like the classic one. Okay, so well, I will show you. You check here, we have two paddles, one ball, and you have just the canvas and two buttons to control the movement of the player. So when we touch the screen, we start everything. It is not like finish, but I guess it is pretty cool. Of course, we need to work with the score, some other things, probably a little bit about the movement of the player, but so far so good. I like the result. Okay, so and I will show you how to make this app for AppyBuilder. Okay, so get ready to start. So well, the first thing that we are gonna do, okay, well, let's go to AppyBuilder or Thunkable or AppInventor. And we are going to start. Just let me prepare everything. So we have this frame. We are going to drag this frame over there. Okay, and we're going to use, as I told you, AppyBuilder. Well, the first thing is to create everything. We need the graphics. Okay, so for these graphics I will use Inkscape, but you can use Photoshop or GIMP or any other similar software. Okay, so we're going to go here. I have my new project and I just name it Old School Pong. Then we go to Inkscape, and in Inkscape I just did something very fast. Okay, just to change the general idea of my original Pong here. Okay, so I just change it a little bit to make it more interesting. So I just did this thing just to have an idea about the final game. So if you check, here we have like this kind of line, that is the edge. Here we have this kind of colorful thing. Okay, and I just remade the paddles instead of these boring paddles. Okay, I have that, and maybe I just need to change the ball a little bit. Okay, this is just to have an idea about the final look of the game, but it will help you a lot. Okay, so probably I will have my ball over there. So let's set it to 16 and let's remove that stroke, because that's okay. 16 times 16, it will be okay, and probably we can use a darker color here. I guess looks okay here, looks okay here, the color. So let's keep it like that. When you have your graphics, okay, it is important to have the proper size for this. Okay, so I recommend you use values, okay, from a power of 2 values. Okay, so in this case I am using 16 times 16 for the ball, and we are going to export these sprites. So to export, you select your sprite, but do it in a different place, not over another image. So in an empty part of the screen, in Inkscape, of course. So you rename it, and let's call this ball kawaii or something. Okay, so I guess this is for my daughter. So and make sure that the size it is the same. Okay, so if you check no, just select selection, and you have 16 times 16, and then we just export this. Then I group all the images. Okay, so I have some circles over there. Okay, so I just group, You can duplicate this with Ctrl D just to leave them there, and then you just select your graphic. You just change the name and the folder. Of course, you can use export as, but I have it here in my folder. And I'm going to rename this to paddle K1. We export. Then we have the number 2. We select Ctrl D, duplicate, drag, and we just do the same. Paddle K2 and export as PNG, okay, with the transparency. Now we have this thing that these are some rectangles that I did and this kind of background, okay, with some kind of effect, okay, or gradient. So I'm going to duplicate these ones. I'm going to group them, Ctrl G, and I'm going to export them. Now check the size of this. It is 512 times 512, and again I am using power of 2 values, okay. So this is to avoid distortions in the graphics. So let's call this table K. That's it. Now if you check, we have this thing that it's behind, it's a bigger square, okay. So we can use that one, or you just duplicate. Now we're going to use this, or we can use the color in AppyBuilder. Okay, so in this case we are going to leave it there because we are going to take the color. So now, just to explain you a little bit, imagine that this is an horizontal arrangement, and here this is the canvas. I will use 2 horizontal arrangements. One horizontal arrangement to contain the canvas, and the canvas it will be set to the size of this horizontal arrangement. And the second horizontal arrangement, it will contain this horizontal arrangement with the canvas inside, okay, and I will make it bigger just to have this kind of border, okay. So basically that is the idea. We have exported just the necessary things. I'm going to export this icon, okay, for our app, and let's change just the color for this, so to make it look with everything. Provide here, and let's select here red color. I guess we have this, and maybe we can add some kind of let's duplicate this. Let's change the color to white. Let's remove the stroke. Then we just move it here. Let's change this to object to path, and we just modify this. And probably we just set it just to the transparency 25. Just to have this kind of illusion. You can use gradients also here. So let's change this here. And we can probably duplicate this one, and then you just flip it and move it down. Probably scale it. Scale this one. Something like that. It's not like having something like really perfect. And probably this is going to set it to 25 or 50 probably. Yes, I guess that's okay. And we do the same with this guy. We move it here. We change this to 25. And we change this to white. 25, 50. Better, I guess better. 50. Okay, well, we have the icon. The icon is 128 times 128. or you can make it bigger if you want to have better looking. Okay, so probably about 512, but I guess that's okay. I just select the last part, the bigger graphic, and then I just change it to icon K export. Well, so now we have all the graphics ready to be imported into AppyBuilder. So now we go to AppyBuilder right now, and we start like creating the layout. Just let me drag this thing. Yes, I'm missing. Let's open companion. AppyBuilder. Just give me a second. We're going to work for that. Okay. I guess for this I will use my cell phone for this tutorial. Well, I guess companion is ready, and we're going to start like making the interface for this. The first thing that we're going to make is to use horizontal arrangement, but this is very important. We're going to go to the screen properties on the right side. Okay, here is screen, and we're going to change some things here. The align, we're going to set it to center. Also to center, the align horizontal and vertical. You have the name. You can change background. Right now, I guess it's okay. So I can, well, we're going to upload the file right now, but just let's change something here to portrait. Let's set it to portrait. Instead of sizing, we're going to use responsive. We're going to use percentages, okay? So, well, the title, let's call it Old School Punk. Old School Punk, I guess, version, it's okay. Now we're going to start like importing everything to AppyBuilder. So we go here to select file, and we're going to go where we have all the sprites. So I guess I have them here. Sprites. Yes, I have them. Let's start with the icon. Icon K. We open it. That's it. Then we start like adding the paddles. Paddle K1. Then we do the same for paddle 2. And also for the small ball. So we have all these things imported. And also we need the background. That is table K. And I guess that's all we need right now. Well, now we go to the right side and we're going to start adding things. The first thing that we're going to go add is go to layout, horizontal arrangement. We're going to set this horizontal arrangement, well, we are going to rename it, okay, just to have an idea, and let's call it horizontal arrangement canvas. So this is the container for the canvas. Then we go to for drawing an animation, we drag a canvas inside here. Then we have here this horizontal arrangement, and then we are going to need another horizontal arrangement. Go to layout, drag it over here, and let's call it main horizontal arrangement. So this is the main. Oh, let's change the name. Horizontal arrangement main, just to have the same kind of naming. Okay, well, we have this one, and we are going to insert this horizontal arrangement inside this one. So this is going to be bigger than the other one, okay? And we're going to set the main horizontal arrangement to center, center. Also this one to center, center. Now the size for the outside, okay, the one that it's outside. We're going to set the width to fill parent or 100%. Okay, so let's set it to fill parent. So you can use 100%, I guess. So now for the height, we're going to set it to 60%. And then we are going to modify the size, okay? So right now it is not that very visible, but don't worry. So then we have this canvas. This is the one that it will contain everything, okay? So let's change this. Instead of fill, just to have an idea, better idea, let's change to 100%. So now the horizontal arrangement for the canvas, we're going to set it, first the height, and we're going to set it, instead of check, this is 60, we're going to set this to 55%. And for the width, we are going to do it for 95 or 90%. Okay, so let's keep it to 95 to see what's happening. Not to, well, yes, 95. Then we're going to modify as I told you. Okay, we have that thing, and we are going to change the image. So you can change the image. The canvas, you are going to set it to fill parent, so fill parent of the horizontal arrangement, and the height to fill parent. Now if you check, it has a color. So you can remove the color, and you can use what I told you, the image. Okay, for background image, we go for table K. And then we have this beautiful image. Now for this, we can use the color. Remember, we're going to use the color from the other one, but right now we're going to use pink. This is for the main horizontal arrangement. And that's it. We have this beautiful pink. I guess I really like it. Maybe this is 5%. It's okay. So 55% for this canvas, and this is 60%, probably 57 or something, but for now it's quite okay. So we have everything ready to start like working. Okay, so horizontal center, remember, background, we have everything in here. So I guess we are almost ready to start with the blocks. Okay, so let's go to the blocks. Okay, now for the blocks, let's start thinking about what we need. Let's create here procedure, and let's call it initialize procedure. Okay, so now what's next? We're going to need the initialize. It is just to start like scaling everything and placing everything in place. Oh, in place, yes, it sounds kind of silly. Okay, sorry. And then we go for this one, that it's start game. We need an start game procedure. Then of course we're going to need something to move player. Then we need something to move, or for the player 2, that it will be controlled by the computer. So let's call it move enemy. No, let's call it artificial intelligence. And probably we need detect edge procedure. What happens when the balls collides? And also we need to see how to move the ball. Move ball, detect ball collision, and of course we need something to well, we lost, okay, or something, so we detect the ball collision. So reset game, or let's call it end game. Well, that is not an end game because we're going to continue with the let's call it game over, because we will need a game over. I guess not for this tutorial, probably for the next one. So, and we will need also reset ball. Okay, so this is after the collision, we reset the ball. Well, I guess we will need some of these procedures, okay, to make the game, just for the basic idea, okay. Probably something to play sounds, okay, but then we return to the designer and we check that we need something, okay. So we need here in drawing and animation, we will need paddle 1, we will need paddle 2, and we will need ball. Okay, now to move everything, we're going to use a clock. Okay, and we're going to rename this clock to player clock. Then we will need another clock, but this clock, it will be for the CPU clock, or AI clock, and we're going to set it here. Both of them, we're going to disable both, and we're going to set them to, right now I guess with 48 it will be okay, and 48 for this one. Okay, so this is for the enemy and this is for us. Now we're going to check image sprite 1, we're going to rename it to paddle 1. Image sprite 2, paddle 2. And finally this is going to be ball sprite. Okay, so we have the ball and we have, now we're going to assign pictures. For paddle 1 we go for paddle K1, paddle 2, paddle K2, and for ball we do the same for ball. Okay, so we have everything, then we need to place them, okay, just in the right place. I guess for now it's okay, and we can go to the blocks and start working. So as I told you, we need to resize everything. To resize all of these things and place them, we are going to use percentages. Okay, to calculate the percentages, we are going to use just a very simple formula. Okay, we are going to multiply, okay, times the container. In this case, the container, it will be this canvas horizontal arrangement. Okay, so we are going to scale everything based on this. Okay, so the sprites. So now, first, let's go here and to this procedure, initialize, and we are going to drag here. I guess the canvas it's okay, so the canvas it is not necessary to scale it. But what about the paddle 1? Paddle 1, we're going to go to the width. Something that I forgot to tell you about paddle 1. The size of paddle 1 and paddle 2, it is like 32 times 128. Okay, so it's like that's the thing. This thing I am using, as I told you, power of 2 values. Now this is important because if you check 32, okay, if you multiply 32 times, I guess it is like 4, it is equals to 128. Okay, so that means that the height, it is 4 times the width. So if we calculate the width, we can calculate the height just multiplying times 4. Okay, so well, first we calculate this one, okay, or we resize this. So let's set the width of the paddle 1 to let's go to here, horizontal canvas. So we are going to use here the horizontal canvas value width, and we're going to multiply this value times, I guess, 0.05. That means that based on the size of the width of the canvas, so I want to use the 5% of the horizontal arrangement canvas. Okay, so the container. So we are going to see how this thing looks. Okay, and then to resize the height, so we are going to do it just multiplying the width times 4. Okay, so for that we are going to go to set paddle 1 height times the width that we just calculated right now times 4, and we use 4 here. So in this case, I'm going to multiply this value 4 times. So now we can drag just here the initialize procedure just to do it. If you check, here it is right now. It looks okay. I really like it. And we're going to do the same for paddle number 2. So we're going to go here, duplicate. We just change here from the drop menu. We just do it. Again, we just do it. And that's it. We have paddles placed like that. So they look okay. So probably you think that they look very small. So you can just change here 0.07% of the screen. 0.07, and then we just run the procedure. Okay, I guess that's okay. So now we need to place them. Okay, so to place, first let's place paddle 1. Let's duplicate this one, and we're going to use the X position. The X position, so we want the paddle 1 to be here in the limits. So the limit is 0 in the X. So we just set this to 0 for the X. That it's already placed, so if we do it, nothing happens. Now for paddle 2, the X position will be the limit of the container. So in this case, the horizontal arrangement. So we just duplicate this one. And we just drag here, and we just run it. And it's in the limit of the container, okay, of the canvas. That in this case is the horizontal arrangement, the container. Now, what's next? Well, now we need to set the starting position for the y-axis. So I guess for the y-axis, we are going to use, in this case again, percentages. We are going to duplicate this, but we are not going to position based on the width. We are going to position this based on the height of the canvas, or horizontal arrangement, I mean. So I want it to be almost at the 50%. So let's set it to probably 50%. So that means 50%. Do it. It is not like 50 because here is the origin. Okay. So, but we can just fix that by adding this. So this value minus, we're going to use here this, minus the height of the sprite. Okay, so we're going to use duplicate height divided by 2, and in that case we will center this in the y-axis. So now if we do it, we check the difference. It is in the middle. We do the same for paddle 2. You just change paddle 2 and also paddle 2. And if we do it, we run it, we have centered this at the beginning. Okay, so this is just the initial position. For the ball, we can do the same. Okay, so the ball, well, also check the size of the ball if you like it or not. But I guess we need to modify the size. Okay, just to make sure everything is okay. Remember, this is a square. Okay, so the same size as width and height are the same. So we just calculate the width and just copy the height for the ball. So we're going to duplicate this one. We go here after paddle 2. We just change paddle from ball, and we're going to set the ball to 0.05%. Let's see what's happening now. Then we just duplicate one of the width, the height, and we just change to ball. sorry, here, ball, and the height, we are going to set the height the same as the ball. We just move this ball's width because it's a square, so having this value, we just copy this value into the height. We just do it, and I guess we have square over there. Looks a little big, so you just change this to 0.04. We just do it, and I guess that's okay to make it more difficult. So we have this. Now the position for the ball, it can be the same as these ones. So for the y-axis, so let's change this to ball, and let's change this to ball. If we do it, ball is there, and in the x-axis, so we're going to do something similar. Okay, so we just duplicate this frame, change to x, and instead of height we use width. So we use always for x width, and width we just do it, and that's it, in the center. Okay, so everything is okay with this procedure. We just move it, so let's check it. So basically we just resize, paddles, ball, and then position, paddle, and ball. Okay, so that is for the initial part. Now this procedure, it will be inserted in the screen initialize. So we go to procedures and we just go for initialize procedure. Well, we have that part. Now we're going to start like creating some variables and things. Okay, so the first idea here, it is to start moving things. Okay, so start moving probably the ball to check collisions. So we need to start the game. Well, to start the game, let's create a variable, and this variable we're going to place it over here. Sorry, just to have not a very messy screen as usual I have. Okay, so let's call this on, off. Okay, so if the game is on or if the game is off, so we're going to set this to false. So let's call it on, game on, probably game on. So is the game started? False. At the beginning it's false. So now, how can we start the game? We can use a button, or we can use just touching the screen. Okay, so in this case we are going to touch the canvas and we are going to start like moving everything. So for that we are going to go here to the start. We are going to check if. Okay, so if, and then we're going to add here a condition just to check if the game is started or not. Okay, so then we're going to insert this procedure. So if the game is started, we're going to get this variable that we just created. If the game is on, if the game is not on, well, we're going to set it on, right? So we're going to set this to global game on to true, and we're going to start like moving things. So the first thing that we're going to move is this beautiful ball. So ball, we're going to go to speed. We're going to change the speed of the ball. Now we're going to use right now just very simple values for the ball. So let's set this to a random value, and we're going to set the value just to small values just to have a slow ball right now. Okay, so let's set it to from 3 to 5. Then we're going to change the heading of the ball. I want the ball first to go, these are positive numbers, so that means that the ball will run, okay, to the right. So, well, Now we're going to change the heading, so we want to change the direction. So we want the ball to go from here to here to here. Okay, so how? Well, I will explain you again this protractor, just to have an idea. When we use the heading, we are just using the angles, okay, so the direction for that. So let me check which one. Okay, so let's use this one. Okay, if you check here, we have this or this. I guess this is better. We will use these values. So imagine that the ball will run in this direction. So we are going to change a little bit, okay, the heading. So if it is like going to this part, it's going to 0. But I want to go, okay, from 30 to minus 30. So that means that the ball will go from here or here or here in a random position. Okay, so we are going to change again the heading to a random position. Okay, so we duplicate this one. We change this to ball heading. And we're going to change from 30 to minus 30. And that will activate everything. Okay, so if I touch in here, well, maybe the ball it will go in any of this direction and then just stop over there. So well, we need to refresh the screen, I guess, because we just added, well, I need to insert first this block, this procedure. Okay, always the procedures are inserted in these kind of events. The event that I want to use here is canvas. Let's use canvas touch, and we're going to drag this procedure that is a start game. Now if we touch, the ball is going to this part, and then it's like moving, okay, and then we just can reset the position, okay. But right now it is just like moving. Okay, we can change again the position. So now the game is started. Okay, what's next? Well, I guess now we need to make some we can go with the animation or the movement of the paddles. Okay, and then we detect collisions and that thing, or let me check what is best. I guess we are going to go with collision. Okay, so what happens when the ball gets to the limit? So, and I guess we have some detect collisions, game over. So we have detect collision, reset the ball, and we're going to use here another one that it will go edge reach. Okay, so we're going to detect if we get to an edge. So well, now for that we are going to go here and we're going to check some things. We're going to work with canvas edge, ball edge reach, this event. Now it is important to understand this. In the edge we have some values. If you check here the information, so the first edge, it is number 1, that it's going to the north. Then you go to northeast, number 2. So this is edge number 1, edge number 2, edge number 3, edge number 4. Okay, and then from 4 you start again counting. So you have -1, -2, -3, -4, and again 1. Okay, so that's the idea. So I want my ball. Okay, so I want my ball to stop when get to the edge 3 or to the edge -3. Okay, also to these corners. So if my ball touches these corners or this edge or this edge or this corner or this corner, I want to reset everything, or I want to stop the ball. Okay, so well, let's do that. So we're going to add a super condition here. So we need to detect if, and we're going to use some of these. We're going to drag, I guess, with 3 of these things here. We're going to add first, the first condition is if the edge, okay, so we don't have edge here, but we are going to just drag here a temporary edge. Then we are going to modify a touch edge, touch edge. We're going to call it like that. If the touch edge equals to 3, that means that is the right edge. Or, okay, so we're going to use here an or. We're going to insert here. This is the first condition. Second condition, what happens if we duplicate this one and we just set it to -3? So that means that is on the left, touching the left. Now for the corners, we do the same. So we have 2, 3, is 3. Oh, sorry for this add. We are going to add another one, another or. So if it's 3, -3, 4, okay, so that means that it is the edge that it's here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, edge 4, edge 2. Okay, so you have minus, we duplicate, oh sorry, we just duplicate this, and we are going to change this to -4, and again check the values. Okay, -4, -4, and then -2 or -2. So this is important because you know we are going to have some movements, very weird movements. And -2, -2. So -4, -4, -2, -3, 3. So let me check which is missing. So we have the number 1, it's okay. Number 2, no, we want to have detection here, the 2 also. Or, and we go and duplicate for 2. I know it's very long. Okay, so we have 2. Then you have 3, 4. We have 4. We have -4, but we don't have 4. So we use or, and we just drag 4. Duplicate. Then you just have 4. So you have this corner, this edge, this edge, this edge. So you have 2, 3, 4, and then you have -1, no? Then you have -2, -3, and -4. -2, -3, -4, then you have 3, 2, and 4. That's it. If you have collision with any of these parts, so we want to stop the ball and reset its position. Okay, so well, to do that we are going to call the reset ball. Okay, so we are going to drag it here, and to reset the ball we want to have the starting position of the ball. So we are going to duplicate these ones from the starting or the initialize procedure for the ball, because we want the ball to reset this. So first we want to reset the position, and we want to kill the speed of the ball. So we're going to go to speed, and we're going to set it to 0. And we're going to change the heading of the ball heading to 0 also. And we want to drag this. This is just for the ball. We just move these guys. And we're going to drag this procedure, okay, that is the reset the ball, in here. So this is what we are going to do. Okay, we are going to reset the ball, and we are going to, well, it is not like game over. Okay, so let's use it here. Reset the ball. We are going to set this here inside. We are going to add a modification for, or we are going to update the value of the global game on. We're going to set it to false, because now we want to stop everything. And probably we need some sounds, but not now. Okay, I guess that's okay for now. Then we're going to add more things. Okay, so global game on here, false. Now what happens if we get to a different edge? If we touch this edge or this edge, well, we want to rebound. We want the ball to bounce also. So we are going to set else. If we are touching a different edge, we want to bounce the ball, and for that we are going to use edge. We're going to drag this edge here. Okay, and then we are going to insert this into edge reach. We go to edge reach. We are going to drag the procedure that is here, edge reach, and we're going to drag just this thing. Yes, I know, and that's it. Now we have everything here, and when we touch in here, we have the ball going. If you check the ball now, it's like rotating. So why? We don't want the ball to rotate. Okay, so in that case, we're going to go to the designer. We're going to go to the ball, and we are going to uncheck rotates. That's it. Then we just return to the blocks. We touch, and we have this ball going to that. Obviously, it is not going to bounce in that part, but it will reset the position. So I guess that's this part. Almost like ready. Now, what's next? We have the ball moving. So what about if we start like moving our player? Well, to move our player, we are going to use, as I told you, a clock. Okay, so let's start moving the player, and for that I guess we created the procedure, right? Move player. So we're going to drag this move player thing, and we're going to put it below the edge reach. So I know sometimes having so many procedures can be like, whoa, okay, but it will help you when you want to modify just a specific aspect of the game. Well, to move the player, we're going to add or create a new variable. Okay, so for the variables, let's go here, and for this variable we're going to check if we are going up or we are going down, and we're going to call it direction. Let's call it player or paddle. Paddle player, I guess, player 1, just in case, direction, and we're going to set the initial direction. Okay, we're going to set it just to nothing. Okay, so well, we have that thing, and then we are going to go here to move player, And of course, to move the player, we're going to use buttons. We can use the canvas, but it's not very practical, believe me. Well, to use this thing, we are going to use an up and down button. So we're going to buttons, use an interface here, and then we are going to drag one button and then another button. This button, it will be name up, and this is going to be down. Okay, and we just change the name text to up, and this is going to be down. That's it. You can change the color, but I guess that's okay for now. It is just to have them. Then we are going to resize them, okay, to make it better, or to add probably an image for them. So, but right now it's okay. So now, to move the player, of course, we're going to use the clock, but first we create the procedure. So we're going to compare, or we're going to check if we are pressing up or we are pressing down, okay? So we're going to get the direction. So to get, we're going to check if text, compare the text equals, if the variable that we just created for the direction, if direction, player 1 direction, it is equals, okay? So to, let's say, the name of the button, we can use the name of the button, up button, that means that it will go up, okay? So if we are detecting this, we are going to set the paddle y. We're going to modify the y-axis, okay, of the player. Now, to make something more interesting, if you check in my previous, in the app that I showed you at the beginning, okay, this was like accelerating, okay, so it started like quite slow and then boom, increase the speed. So we're going to create another variable and we're going to call it acceleration. Acceleration. So let's call it player 1 acceleration, something like that. And we're going to set this value, I guess, to 0. It will be okay for now. That's it. Then we return here to move player. So when we have this kind of thing that it will be inserted in the clock, we are going to change first the acceleration. We're going to set the player acceleration, and we are going to change its speed. The current value that at the beginning is 0 plus, let's set something to 1.5. Then we will just check it. Then we are going to update the paddle Y position using this kind of value. So paddle Y, or where is the Y? X Y. So we are going to, we're going to use here this paddle Y plus the acceleration that we just updated, okay, plus. Now what happens if we are not going, well, this is important. So we are going up. When we go up, values get smaller because 0 is in here for the y-axis. So this is not like okay. So we're going to change from up to down. When we go down, we increase the values, and this is increasing the values, right? So now what happens if we go down? Well, else, so that if we have a different value in the player direction that is not down button text, so we are going to use the same thing, but instead of plus 1.5 it is minus. Okay, and that's it. With that thing we just duplicate this, and we have that. Now we need to update this direction. We're going to change the direction, okay, when we press these buttons. So we are going to go here and we're going to add it in here. If you check, this is very huge. Okay, so what if we just collapse this block? Well, now we are going to check when we press the button, when we click the button. Let's see, when we touch down the button up, we are going to change this variable, that is direction, and we are going to change this to its name, button up text. We just duplicate this guy and we do the same for down, change, and that thing, it will change. Now we need to insert the move player into the clock, the player clock. We go to player clock, and then we are going to add the procedure that we just created, that is move player. But also the clock is disabled, so we need to enable the clock when we start the game. Okay, and we check our procedure to start the game, so we need to enable the clock, player clock. We go here, player clock, to true. I guess that's okay. So now if we go here, okay, we just move this and it's not working because we need to touch in here. But check, now it is like having this. Okay, so it's like doing it, but why it is not stopping? Because I just press and it continues. So we need to disable the clock. So we are going to do it here in the buttons. What happens when we use, when up button is touch up, we are going to disable the clock, the player clock. I guess with that it will fix this thing. Set player enable to false. And also we need to change the other one, duplicate, and I guess we are going to modify something, because if not, this is not going to work. So let's just delete this. Now the clock is disabled. So we need that every time that we touch in here, we enable the clock. We're going to set this to true. We duplicate this and we are going to set it to true. Okay. And also, okay, because this is important, we need to update some values. Okay, so we need to change everything, the direction, okay, and we need to update the acceleration. So for that we're going to modify the values. Okay, so for example, when we touch down, we're going to set the acceleration as we want here in move player. So let's go to move player. So we have, at the beginning we have the acceleration to 0. Okay, so but then it changed the acceleration with the clock, so we need to reset the acceleration. So to reset the acceleration, we are going to every time that when we touch down, so let's move this. when we touch down, when we press the button, so we change the direction and the acceleration. We are going to set the acceleration to, let me check if this is going to work like, let's set it to 0. Then duplicate and touch down. Let's set it to 0. And that's it. Now if you check, it looks okay. If you want to make it faster, well, you just can change here the value that it's in the move player. This 1 to 1 to 2 or to 3, okay? So, but I guess it's okay, and it's increasing the speed, okay? So what happens if we just move it to 2? 2 and minus 2. So we have this faster, right? That's it. Now, I guess with the player, that's okay. So every time we press, we reset the acceleration. And we disable the clock, of course. There is another thing. Maybe if you check, if we refresh the screen and we start like the game, we can start like moving the paddle, and maybe we don't want to move the paddles. So probably if at the beginning of the game we just set, okay, in the initialize procedure we set paddle, let's go to paddle 1, and probably we disable. I don't know if this is gonna work, but let's check it to false. Set it to false, and when we start the game, of course, we're going to set it to enable. We're going to enable the paddle. So we start the game, we enable the paddle. When we initialize, it is to disable. Okay, so now if we refresh the screen, let's see if this works. If not, well, we try. Yeah, I know why. Maybe we need to disable, not this guy. We need to disable the buttons. So we're going to disable these buttons, the up and down, duplicate, down, and we're going to set them to false. False. And when we start the game, of course, we are going to enable them here. True. Duplicate for down, and we are going to set it to true. So now when we start the game, so this is to make it look more professional. We cannot move this thing, but if we touch this, we can now move this friend. Now we need to check something because I noticed something weird. Or we refresh. Okay. So what happens if I touch? It is moving to upwards. It's moving upwards because when I press this start game, ball speed, the player is enabled. Now this is not necessary in this case. So if we reset everything now, it will be like stop. Everything stop until we press the screen to start the game. We can add a message here, touch the screen to start. That's it. And we have this. So now we need to check collisions, okay? I guess we are almost done with this tutorial. I don't want to make it super long, but I guess it's pretty interesting. Okay, so now we have moved the player, and probably we are going to work with detect collisions. Okay, so this part is like, always it is like the hardest part. Okay, so try to think the collisions. So now, for that we need to detect if we are colliding with someone, okay, if paddle 1 or with paddle 2, because we want to have different reactions. So we want to change, okay, in this case, if we collide, we bounce, okay, and we want to go or change direction based on the angle or the heading. Okay, so well, let's see if we can make it. So the first thing is we're going to add a condition here, and we're going to check if we are colliding with who. Okay, so let's add here just a temporary value, and let's call it other, or colliding with. So now we're going to check if, and let's say that colliding, if we are colliding with, okay, let's see, paddle 1, okay, we can work with, let's work with paddle 2, that is the computer, paddle 2. If we are colliding with paddle 2, so we are going to go to the bottom, and we're going to drag just the name, paddle 2. So if we are colliding with paddle 2, okay, so what we are going to do? Well, first, if this is happening, we need to check the position. Okay, so we're going to use another condition, and we're going to change the position of the ball. Okay, so and we're going to compare this value, of course. So we're going to check the ball's position, Y position, so we're going to use here some values. Okay, so basically the idea is I want to detect which part of the paddle maybe we are like touching. So but we're going to do that for paddle number 1. So in this case, to keep it simple, for paddle number 2, that is the enemy, we want to touch here and to go to a random position from here to here to here to here to make it more interesting. So we're going to check if we're colliding with paddle 2, we're going to keep this for that. For the other one, I will explain you why, okay, but right now we just want to check if we have collision with paddle 2. If paddle 2, we're going to change the heading of the ball or the direction. We're going to change the heading to a random integer, and we're going to check minus 140 to minus 240. So if you check here in the protractor, okay, so we want to go to one of these positions, minus 140, that is from here, okay, 240. So from this area I want to rebound from here to here, from here to here. Okay, so that's the idea. I want to rebound. Imagine that this is the collision here, and touches probably here, probably here, probably here, probably here. So now this is basically the idea, and we're going to check what happens if we have a collision or not. We need to insert this little friend. I always so forget about this thing. So if ball collides with, procedure for collisions, detect collision, and for other we're going to use this friend. And now we are going to check. Excellent. So we have this to a random value. Now if we go to the corner, we disappear. So that's the idea basically. Going to random positions. Okay, now we can work with the player, because now we don't have any collision with player. So for the player I want to do something different. what if I touch this area of the player? Well, I want to have a movement going up. If I touch this area, okay, so I want to go from this part. So we need to, it's like dividing the player in two. Okay, so the upper part and the lower part. So, well, let's work with the procedure here in colliding with. So we're going to add here a condition, else if. So if we are colliding with paddle 1, we are going to run a different procedure. Okay? So first, we are going to check. Okay, so we are going to make here, this is the part that we need to divide the player in two. Okay, so we are going to divide this. So we are going to use here this, and we are going to add another condition. So for the player, we can do it the same for this for the player. Okay, so just flip the values and that's it. But I guess it is more interesting if we can like control this thing. Okay, so just going here and here, and from the player, it's from the computer, it's better to have random place, okay, to make it more interesting. But I guess for us it is better if we have some control over the touching, because if not, we just can add and flip and we have this. Okay, so I can show you that what I mean. Okay, probably I just set this to ball and I just flip the values 100 to 240, and probably that will be like that. So we move here, well, we need to flip the value, sorry. So probably we are going to use for this friend something from 5, because values are different in here. So what if we set the values from -5, because we need to check here the values. We need to go here, from this to this. Okay, something like that. So probably I don't know if this is gonna work, but this is just like a simple part. I don't know if we flip it over there. Oh, it's not going to happen right now. Then we just check the values. Probably from -40 to 40. Yes, I guess from -40 to 40. And if you check, we have collision over here. And that's the easiest way, okay? But if you want to have something more complicated, well, you can continue watching this video. That it's taking too much, right? So I guess we are almost finishing, and then we continue with this, okay? So let's do the complicated part. Okay, and then we're going to have here bouncing. Just to a random value. It's okay, I guess. But I want to make it differently. Let's see if we have game over there. Yes. So now let's change this. So if we're going to check if we are touching the if the part that we are touching from the paddle, so that means if the ball position when it's colliding, ball Y, if the ball Y plus ball Y plus in here the ball Y plus the half of the sprite of this, so we want to have the center of the ball, so the center of the ball is the value that we're going to be like considering. So ball Y divided by 2, well, the height, I mean, it is less. Okay, if this value is less, then we're going to use paddle. We are talking about paddle 1. We are going to change this to paddle 1. and we are going to do something similar. Pause. Okay, again, it's for you to see. This value is greater than this, and we duplicate this one, and you just change from ball to paddle 1. So if we are touching a bigger area, that means that we are touching this part. This is bigger value, or this is a smaller value. Okay, so for the height, we're going to change the ball heading to a random value from -5 to 40. So now I guess we are going to do it like that. So check, we can calculate this, and we need to check if we need to touch with this part. Okay, so it's going up. Now what's happening if we touch with this area? I know it's pretty slow, but I guess we can do something. What about if we just do this? When we touch, start the game, just let's change the speed to -3, just to go to the player, to -5. Nothing happening because we are just detecting this area. Now we can just modify the values because we want, when we touch this part, sorry, check, the values are not correct, so that's good because we can change. Well, right now it is not like okay because I am using the speed. Okay, so it's changing the heading. Okay, so but don't worry, we're going to change the heading here later. So but I just want to check if we have detections. Okay, so let's change this to 3 to 5, and now we see that we can have detection with the lower part. Now we need to change this to upper part, so let's add an else. Okay, so you can use else that if we are touching a different part. Okay, or we can add a condition, but I guess with the else it's okay. Duplicate, and we are going to change this to 5 to 40. This is -40, that's why we have this kind of mistake. Okay, well, I guess that's okay. So now we can check it. What happens if we touch in here, the upper part of the paddle? It's going up. Okay, if I touch the lower part, we hope that this thing goes down. So, and then we're going to modify more things, okay, like the speed. Okay, so we want to increase the speed. So we want to touch the upper part, but I guess in that one it won't be possible. It's touching this part, but it's having more control. So you now check. Paddle 2 is giving us random positions, okay? And this guy, when we touch the upper part, it's going down, and up, it's going up. So you can flip the values if you want to have different effect, but I guess that's okay. So now what happens when we have this over? So we can move this. We don't want to do that. So we need to check or update the reset the ball edge reach. Okay, so we reset the ball, okay, and also we disable the buttons. So we need to check buttons enable, button enable to false, and down false. That's it. Okay, so now if we check this, we can change now the speeds if you want. We modify this guy. And that's it. Guess we're going to have collision over there. No. And now check, I cannot move these guys until I touch here. Okay, so that's better. And that's it. I guess that's all for this video. Okay, for the next video I will move, okay, this player, okay, the AI, okay, or the CPU, okay, player, or the computer, whatever you want to call it. Okay, we need to work with that. Okay, so we just created a move ball that we didn't insert it. Okay, why? Because the move ball is just to give the speed, so basically that's why. Okay, so we set the speed in here. Okay, so we can just make it like that. So we can just move ball just to make it more organized, and we just insert move ball in here. Oh, move ball, move ball, move ball, and that's it. So we touch, and we have this beautiful thing. Okay, and now we can just change the speeds. Okay, when we start the game, from 9 to 13 to make it more interesting. And if you check, the ball looks quite choppy, so we fix this just going to ball, and the interval, let's use 10 for the interval of the ball, and it will look more a little bit smoother. We just wait. Ooh, so smoother. Well, too fast, too furious. So we can just reduce the speed to 7 to 9. I guess that's okay. Oh, it's really fast. And maybe I am very slow, and then you just can modify the values, remember. So you can go here and check your move player. You can change the values. Okay, so probably we just change the global acceleration initial value or something. Okay, so probably to 4, -4, then we just start. Oh, terrible. Okay, well, that's the idea. Okay, and also when we have this game over thing, we have, okay, when we detect collision, colliding, I guess this is just the last part. Okay, so when we reset the ball, why not to stop the clock? That it is like stop, but player clock, stop the clock. So we are going to go here to false, and that's it. And well, that's the idea with this game. Okay, so for the next tutorial, guys, we will finish the tutorial. And this was a tutorial for AppyBuilder. Remember, you can follow the tutorial with AppInventor also and with Thunkable. But there is something that we will add. Okay, so because I am planning to use this game later, okay, for me, so probably you go to monetize. That is something that you have in AppyBuilder. Okay, and then you go to add move. We are going to add an add move banner. Okay, so we are going to add this thing in here, and that's it. Now, it is always a good idea when you have this and it's very close to a game area, just to move things, okay, a little bit. It is a good practice, okay. So you can add something here like an empty image on a label or something, okay. So we are going to add here a label, and we're going to set this label to height, at least at an 8% or 10% of the height, just to separate this from the other one. And we just change this to an empty label, and it will push these things, okay. Well, unfortunately right now it has a problem, but don't worry. So we reset the connection and we go to AppyBuilder. Okay, so it's very important, guys, that when you make your app here in AppyBuilder, and if you are adding an AdMob banner, that you separate this from buttons or canvas, because if not, AdMob, it will like I don't know, like penalize you and will discount money from the clicks, okay, because probably people were like clicking your ad because of an error or mistake, because they were like trying to click something from the interface, okay. So that's why always to give some space, okay. So if you check, it's okay. So we have some space in here. We can change the background, okay, to another color. I don't know which one right now. I guess something like, I will change it later to something else. Right now we use just black, just to see. And of course no action bar. I changed the action bar, sorry. I changed the action bar to pink and the screen to something black. I will use another color, okay, to go more with the game. So probably something not red. But anyway, this is the idea for this tutorial, guys. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I know it was long for a simple game, you probably think, but it's okay. I guess the result is very good, okay. And I was inspired because one of the friends that I usually follow, okay, it's that is Derek Banas, okay, that I like his tutorials, and I was checking a tutorial about making a Pong game in Unity, and I like it, okay. So, and I use some of the things here to this to make this version, okay. So this AppInventor version, okay. For the next tutorial we will move this player and we will add a score for the game, and we will add a game over, okay. So probably we're going to play just like 10 points, and that's it. The first one to get 10 points, it will win, okay. It will be very interesting. Please, if you have any comments, problems, suggestions, ideas, please just let me know them, okay. If you enjoyed the tutorial, please just give me a like, okay. Give a like to this video, and also don't forget to share the video with people who's learning, okay, here with AppyBuilder, AppInventor, okay, or someone who's interested in about making games, okay, their own games, okay. If you check, it's pretty simple. You can check my tutorials about Inkscape also, okay. I have tutorials about game and also some tutorials about After Effects, okay. So my name is Eduardo, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching this, guys. And also we will add some sounds for the next part, okay. So, and if you want to have this kind of images and files, okay, just help me to get this video to at least 20 likes, okay. Well, I will see you next time. Goodbye. My name is Eduardo.